Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to the Friday night chop session with Stormybman for this Friday, February 2nd, 2024. And this is number 233 in the series of chop sessions. Yeah. And we are calling this one Buatsi versus Azeez, which will be broadcast this coming Saturday, tomorrow, February 3rd. If you're stateside, you can check it out on Peacock television. Yeah. That's the light heavyweight championship fight for the Commonwealth light heavyweight. And it's an intercontinental light heavyweight title fight also, where Joshua Buatsi and Dan Azeez are two of the top rated light heavyweights that are in the sport presently. And these two men have quite a story. They've come up through the amateurs and professional ranks together. They've sparred together. They know one another very well. And now it is time for them to face one another so that one may proceed forward in his career. So there's an interesting byline to their story, and someone is going to have their feelings hurt, and someone is going to move on toward a possible title shot before the end of 2024. It's going to be very interesting, and I, for one, interested in seeing what may transpire there. Some of you may notice that I got a little bit of a different setup this evening. Is because I was anticipating having a guest on with me this evening. I haven't heard anything from my guests, but hopefully they're doing okay and they can make it on in. But nonetheless, it is damn the torpedoes full speed ahead. Yeah. So how's everybody out there? I hope that you all have had a prosperous week. And if you don't work on the weekend, may you get some rest and relaxation, something that you like to do for yourself before having to restart that grind. Yeah, because it can be brutal when you got to get out there and restart that grind. You know what I mean? So just know that that is something that we all deal with when you're living the life where you got to work for a living, huh? Yeah. Some people don't, and that's nice. But when you do, hey, you know what it is. So that being said, let me go out here into the chat, see who we got in the building this evening. Early on, we got Shawalaya out there saying salute sensei with some channel emojis. We appreciate you, Shawa. How you doing this evening? And we got also, oh man, Universal Truth is back with us saying salute sensei. Anthony Bolton in the building saying salute. Yahweh, my man's No Smoke TV is out there saying salute. TS Boxing is in the building with us this evening as well. What's happening? Brown is out there saying, be well at Stormy B, man. You the same. Said salute our chat family and hit the like button. Jamal Davis is out there as well. Strong arming it with that support. Appreciate you, Jamal. How's it going? What a week in the sport of boxing, man. What a week in the sport of boxing. We have had some news that has taken us through so many changes, ups, downs, all types of turnarounds. I'm not enamored with what we've had to face going back early into the week where we were told that, you know, the young fighter that I refer to as Shitty Cuz, out here making his way through the airwaves with news. He kicked things off early on talking about he's retiring. And let me just say this about that. Plenty of young fighters in the sport of boxing, going back generations, found points of disinterest in the sport and have decided to retire, find something else to do with their lives. There's got to be a better way to earn a living, so forth and so on. So he's not special when it comes down to talking about retiring from the sport. For a fighter who is near the end of a deal with his current promoter, I believe that's Top Rank, it may not be the wisest choice to decide to do something like that right now, thinking that you're going to have your way, when all they need to do is just put you on the shelf until your contract expires. The interesting thing about allowing the contract to expire, I'm sure that the promoter has secured themselves with rhetoric in the contract, you know, fine print, be it will, that they can put you on ice for a certain duration to give the contract an opportunity to clear. Sometimes those durations could be upwards of 2 years or more. Ask Mikey Garcia. That means you could go a long time, even if you want to get back in, that you may not be able to. I've seen it be as minimal as a year, but Sinisa Estrada just went through something similar when she was, you know, without contract. We saw Jessica McCaskill. And though I'm naming women, those are two prominent fighters, champion, world-class fighters, whom had dealings with Top Rank. So with that being said, I'm not so certain Stevenson has surveyed the landscape. Even if you want to walk away, you can't. But you might as well put a blanket over the feet and legs, because winter's coming, huh? Yeah. Stormybman be talking about these things sometimes. It may go over the head, but it's like it's something that you guys need to take note of, because you be wondering sometimes, where's my favorite fighter at? Huh? And you look up and he's stocking the shelves in the back rooms of Walmart or something because he couldn't get a fight. Yeah. It happens. He's not the first, nor will he be the last. Yeah. But as you have to deal with these things, you understand that the nickname Shitty Cuz fits, huh? Cuz it's shitty. The business, the corrupt business of boxing. Be that as it may. We're seeing so much of this, it's ridiculous. I was going through the boxing news pages. And do you realize there's not a lot of positive news out there for the sport of boxing. Not a lot of positive news at all. There are fights on the horizon. There are fights that people don't care about. There are fighters that people don't care about, but they keep shoving those guys in front of our faces and noses. And the fights that we want to see aren't getting any closer to being made. What are we to do? What are we to say? What move are we to make when these people can't get their acts together? Yeah. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Not only was the news of Shakur retiring part of headlines for him, but this so-called relative of his disclosing information, the slap heard around the world and the stolen sneakers and everything that this man has decided to come out and talk about. And then even revealing to him that Shitty Cuz came to him as a small one, saying, when I get big, I'm going to get this guy for doing XYZ to me. Turns out that Gramps may not necessarily be the guardian of a generation. The guy has questionable mentoring capabilities. And that's to put it nicely. But under his watch, revealed by his own mouth, there have been some questionable circumstances. What is one to make of that? Because I'll tell you something. If it were your kid under his watch, would you not feel a certain kind of way? Would you not feel a little perturbed and maybe want to have a discussion with the guy? Yeah, just a little tete-a-tete, Discuss matters. Find out what's really going on. But to me, he doesn't appear to be the best of the guardians, And at this late stage in his life, to come out and be an embarrassment and to speak as he's spoken and to appear as he has. Pops, go sit your butt down somewhere. That's what Stormy says. Because this is a social media era. And if you're coming out representing like that, you might as well not be representing at all. But it has always been an old adage that God takes care of babies. And what, my people in the chat? Yeah. That's right. That's right. So as we talk about the news of the week, we see that not only Shitty Cuz at the top of the headlines, but more shitty dealings in the sport of boxing, shitty comments, sound bites. Sir knows Leonard Ellerby has been caught out there. You know how we say so-and-so got exposed, huh? Let me see a show of support by putting a 1 in the chat if you feel that Leonard has finally, if not prior to now, but finally exposed himself, huh? It's like he got up on the dais in front of some mics and cameras and pulled his pants down and say, what do y'all think of this, huh? Yeah. Because all of his explanations as to why Tank hasn't accepted a fight with Devin Haney or anyone else that is good at the weight class, but he's given us plenty of rhetoric about how good Tank is, how much of a star Tank is, what Tank doesn't have to do, what rules he doesn't have to follow. Does it sound like the teacher in a Charlie Brown cartoon talking when Sir Nose comes out there? Y'all remember the teacher in Charlie Brown, right? When the teacher in Charlie Brown used to talk, it used to sound a little something like this. Wow, 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 wow. Now I'm gonna ask some of you out there. I only saw one person put a 1 in the chat, and that was Steph Brown. Appreciate you, Steph Brown. Appreciate you. At least you can follow instructions, huh? About your brothers and sisters out there, I'm not so certain, but it's every man and woman for themselves, huh? That's why F+ is go on single sheets of paper. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Sir Nose has made so many excuses. We're going on 5 years now about the Devin Haney thing. Believe it or not, people. Yes, it's been that long. Because there was a time when Tank was 24. I think he's 29 now. Yeah. But all of that was in place because they were trying to keep I had a feeling that my chat was not going to act quickly. So Stormybman took that into his own hands. There's no reason to dig in the garbage. No reason. Is Shower still in the chat? Shower? I take it that Shower's not with us anymore because she's not responding. Okay. Wrenches. Take note that the channel is under attack. Take note, because I'm on top of this, but I need you all to be on top if you want this show to continue on without a hitch. Oh, you don't recognize what's happening there, Yahweh? We've already had 2 unfamiliars, 1 band come in here. You know, the one that have subjected me and my brothers of the community to some of their foolishness, but to come into my chat with a different account. But I don't go sniffing around trash cans. You know what I'm saying? So to create new accounts and to come in here thinking that you're going to disrupt. No, the only thing you're going to do is get views up. That's about it. Because you will last as long as you type. Never am I asleep, and I'm not an alcoholic, so I'm sober. See, I know when I saw a certain someone show up here early, I was looking. I was on the lookout. "30 minutes into my show, and all I've done is talk about Shitty Cuz this far, and then I was beginning to talk about Ellerby because he's in the news. But see, when I ask you guys to write something in the chat, like I asked to put that 1 in here, and only one person put the 1 in there, Steph Brown. And then when the bullshit started happening, then a couple others put a 1 in there. But my wrenches aren't aware of the foolishness. This is why I said before, I may have to make an adjustment on wrenches for this channel. Life goes on. What I was going to suggest, after making excuses for Davis, Ellerby has been tossing around comments as irresponsibly as the roll call of potential opponents in Davis's future. Now you're throwing about Frank Martin's name as a potential opponent. But where have you seen Davis face anyone with the talent like Frank Martin? Where? And even if Martin was being considered as a possible opponent, where are the demands that he be pay-per-view? Where are the demands that he sell tickets? Where are the demands that he be better known? Oh, those things only apply to Devin Haney, who, if I'm not mistaken, was the undisputed champion at lightweight just a few months ago, before vacating and moving up to conquer another division title. You see? Stipulations, roadblocks, caution tape. The rope is running out on Ellerby. You're looking bad out here in the streets. Looking very bad. Oh, and by the way, you all, that talk about fighting in the UK, how? How does that happen? Last I checked, those little ankle bracelets don't travel outside the country. They don't. So you can't just blow smoke and have people really believe in what you're saying. You can't. By the way, chat, do you know when you get spam and people start coming in and they get disrespectful, there is a log of that now. We content creators can go right into the comment section for each and every person that writes in the chat, and it will produce a history of things noted. And so when you find yourself in the block party, when you find yourself on the outside, understand that it could be taken as harassment, huh? And the next step is that can be used to take a channel down. Yeah. You are aware of that, chat, right? Wrenches. Steph Brown, Universal Truth, absolutely. Champion Heart, what's good with you? Peace to you, brother. Good to see you out there. I've now been joined by my guests. We got the brother 503 Lion in the building. What's good with you, 503? How you doing this evening, bro?
Man, what's good with it, Sensei, OG? Salute to you. Appreciate you for having me on. Apologies for the tardiness, man. I had to run some last minute errands, man, but I'm here on the Friday night chop session. You know what I'm saying, with the Sensei, man. How everybody feeling tonight? What's up with it, chat?
We're good, 503. I'm just getting into the second subject of the evening. I started off talking about Shitty Cuz, that's Shakur. I started off talking about him, the slap incident, the whole thing about Grandpaps, and the Grandpaps mentioning the story about even when Shakur was a little one, and talking about how when he got big, he wanted to do something to somebody that was slighting him. And I talked about that being a situation where, regardless of what was going down, it's obvious that Paps didn't have good control over the environment. And there are probably a lot more stories that may not be so nice if those things were to come out. But that's what boxing used to be. Boxing used to be where what happens in the gym stays in the gym. But today, in these times, because the energy is different amongst so-called men gossip more than women now. So some of these stories you're probably going to hear a lot worse as time goes on, not necessarily from these individuals, but just in general, because it's the loss of discipline. But I had moved on from that and had begun to talk about how Leonard Ellerby had been protective of anything coming the direction of who he is managing and overseeing career of Tank Davis. And now they're even talking about that Frank Martin might be a potential candidate for an opponent. But I'm like, well, how you gonna do that if you know, if Frank ain't made pay-per-view sales, if he ain't showed he could sell out arenas, if he ain't showed, in other words, all the stipulations that they were putting on Devin, right? It's like, but Frank is a good fighter, and I'm not trying to say he's not, but it's interesting that they make provisions in certain directions. They haven't even mentioned Shitty Cuz as a potential opponent, which I find very interesting as well. But we know what Coach Cal had to say about that. So that's kind of like where I was moving into. But with that being said, I'm going to take my boxing news thing off the screen and get us back here where we can both be on the screen together there. So I got you there. So, but welcome, bro. That's what's been happening thus far. Oh, and I got a couple of trolls that have been in here this evening, of the ilk of which we had a conversation of behind the scenes last week when we had our conversation. Yeah, he showed up with a couple of different accounts, but he's been, exited out of here.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's definitely LDBC or nothing. But the people that want to ridicule the LDBC and make memes and all of that stuff, they're on site. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man. For me, Leonard is he's a character. You know what I'm saying? Bill Haney like to call him, the Santa Claus that stole Christmas, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate though, man. It's unfortunate, real unfortunate that they're protecting Tank the way they're protecting. You
know what's interesting about that though, and I will always say this: I featured Tank in some of my intros for some of my videos and everything. Tank is not a bad fighter. He's actually pretty darn good. It's just that they've treated him with kid gloves and training wheels. You know what I mean? What does it look like for a kid that's 12 riding a bike with training wheels on it? It's like, come on, man, take them doggone training wheels off. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they're doing it. But I understand why they're doing it, but that doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? Let that man loose and let him fight, because he has talent, he has abilities. The more that you hold those things within and all of that, eventually someone's going to get lucky against him. And then you're going to look really bad and have egg on your face, because when you do that kind of thing, it's like somebody, perfect example here, a young girl that's blossoming. Now her daddy and mama can try to keep her in the house. You go to school, you come home, you in the house, so you doing it. But when she walk outside, everybody see her, and she blossoming, and she like, oh, is that Junior's daughter? Is that, and that's, hey, and then the boys, they see her, huh? And then the boys are like, hey girl, what's up? I gotta go home, my mama calling me. So every time she goes out, the predators are like, they those who want to shoot, they shot. Those that want to, so it's like you can't guard forever. And the very one that you never wanted near her is the one she liked. Then it's all problems from there. You understand? So that's all I'm saying about this situation of trying to protect Tank like that. Let him out there. If somebody can compete with him, so what? If someone happens to defeat him in a decision, so what? But he has what people like to see. He has knockout ability. He has fast hands. And for whatever reason, folks seem to like them little old yellow boys. I don't know what that is. It's like they like him. Don't nobody lay a hand on my little Tank. That thing. But he can be very entertaining, but they need to take the reins off. Now, I'll let you go ahead and talk, bro, because we got you in here now. Whatever you want to.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, man. I've been wanting to come on your show, man, and pick your brain and learn from the sensei, man. So it's an honor to be here amongst you in your chat room. For me, I always say this, man. Shitty Cuz, Tank, Devin, they like the three black horsemen, I don't really quote unquote call them kings yet, because nobody has truly established that. We could give it to Devin outright because of the undisputed reign he's had, but we could poke holes in Devin's resume, because people comment underneath my videos and tell me that Devin hasn't fought a prime fighter yet. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing that Dev does have is undisputed, and he has the Lomachenko fight, and then he just fought Regis. And we are wanting to see Tank Davis attempt those things, right? So, I mean, Tank got the whole package. You know what I'm saying? He got the look, he got the fan base, he got the knockout power. He is just lacking the legacy fights. That Devin has had with a Regis, with a Loma, with a beating Cambosis twice. Tank can fight anybody. These dudes, take whatever to get in the ring with him. You know what I'm saying? Because they know win or lose from Tank, I could sell more, I could generate more, I can get more money. Look at Pitbull Cruz. When Pitbull Cruz lost to Tank, the man has been fighting on pay-per-view ever since. You know what I'm saying? So, he you fuck around, get knocked out in the fight, but it's benefits to it. It's perks in it. You know what I'm saying? And I think these other fighters see that,
Well,
Tank,
I'm sorry. What also goes along with that is, if you're giving someone opportunities, let's just say Tank has been, gate-wise, he's been the A side to a lot of situations and fighting on pay-per-view. So if he gives someone a shot, that boosts the other person's name immediately because of Tank's status. We saw it with even Mario Barrios. Mario, his last couple of fights since he fought Tank, when he fights, people are like, oh, Mario's fighting, because they remember him fighting Tank, and he got stopped by Tank, but it's like, still, he's been awarded from being in the ring with him. Like you said about Isaac Cruz, same thing. But one thing we can actually say is that he's not breaking bread with the brothers. And that's something that can't be ignored. He's not doing that.
Right.
Floyd wasn't doing that toward the end of his career. Yeah, he gave a lot of certain people opportunities. But wow. There are names that you could say and fingers that you can point that this guy could have got a chance. This guy, not about beating him, but to be able to grace the ring. I remember Ali, when he was the heavyweight champion of the world, he gave a title shot to Ernie Shavers, who was in a bad situation where he needed money. His mom was sick. She needed some type of operation or something like that. And so Ali, instead of just being generous and giving out of his bank account, he gave Shavers a shot at the title. And Shavers was one of the most dangerous punchers in the heavyweight division during that era. Ali ended up stopping Ernie, but he let Ernie leave the ring with dignity because he helped his brother and fellow man out by giving him a payday, a shot at the world title. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of thing, it resonated. It touched a lot of fighters' heart at the time because Ali did not have to do that. He did not have to do that. But just think about what I just said. We got guys out here now, they boast and brag about somebody struggling or whatever. You ain't making no money. What did Danny Jacobs tell Charlo in that corridor? I'm touching M's. Huh? Well, if you touching M's and doing good like that, why don't you make a fight with one of your brothers and let them touch some M's? Huh? Because Canelo helped you touch M's, didn't he? See, this is what I'm talking about. See, it could turn political very quickly when you really know what you're looking at. And, you know, I don't try to be in the political end of it, but that doesn't mean I'm oblivious to what's happening and what's not happening. There's enough for everybody to eat.
What I think the biggest problem with Tank feels like they always have to tap into another demographic. And what I was saying on my show the other day, and it's funny that you bring up Ali, right? Because some of the most memorable fights, you know what I'm saying, and you was in the boxing in the 70s and 80s. Some of the most, you know, historic, iconic fights, man, is our own people. You know, like, or it's the Latinos versus the Latinos. You know what I'm saying? Like one of my favorite fights of all time. That if I always want to go back and watch, you know, and I want to see some leather being thrown, is Hagler and Hearns. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, Ali and Foreman. You know what I'm saying? Fights like that. You know. Sugar Ray and Hearns, you know, it's a Floyd versus Zab, you know, it's a Floyd versus Sugar Shane. Some of the most like historic fights, man, where you get action packed, you know, back and forth, you know, it's black versus black. Now, don't get me wrong, black versus Latino does touch two demographics. But some of the best fights, man, is with our own people, you know. And tomorrow, I think we're gonna get a little bit of dust up over with the UK boys. I think they're gonna do some historic shit with Buatsi and Dan Ennis. You know what I'm saying? Azeez, how you say his last name?
Yeah,
Azeez, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
Azeez,
Azeez, Dan Azeez. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think Tank, he has the power to do it, but he has so many different people in his ear telling him otherwise. Because you see how Coach Calvin feels. Huh?
And you know what that is also, 503? Check this out. Because this is something people don't talk about, but it's true. They're eating off of Tank. They're eating off of him. So of course they want the ship to keep sailing until it sinks, you know, but they ain't trying to sink it prematurely because they want to eat. And see, it's the fighter that has to recognize these things. The fighter has to say, look, I'm feeding all of you. If I need this legacy fight, which is going to not only booster my bank account, but my status for respect in the sport, sometimes I have to take a risk here or there for it to transpire for me, Because at the end of the day, y'all ain't gonna be in the record books. It's gonna be my name in the record book. You see what I'm saying? This is how, again, now this is coming from me. You said earlier, coming in and talking with me, you know, picking my brain, but I always will give you points that were not considered. Think about it like this. If a fighter takes control of his career like that, then all of a sudden he has more to fight for than just the bank.
Yep.
There's your motivational tool right there. Complacency and apathy is a fighter's worst enemy. I got XYZ in the bank. I got the kind of house that I wanted. I drive the kind of car I want. I got the woman of my dreams. I bought my mama a house. What is there to fight for now? That goes into what Marvin Hagler said. It's hard to get up and run at 5 a.m. when you're sleeping in silk pajamas and silk sheets. Yeah, it's hard. It gets hard because you be like, man, I don't really got to take them punches. This is what happened to Anthony Joshua. I've talked about it in my own personal videos, but sometimes people think that I just rip him. But no, I've always talked both sides of things. When he acquired the IBF title from Charles Martin, he was 24 years old, 25. The one thing I've spoken about him is he never got better. He's still the same guy. Even though he's had different trainers working with him and stuff, the improvement of what he could have been from then to now hasn't really taken off. You know why? Because what they did was they put him in a series of bouts. Before he ended up losing to Ruiz, they put him in a series of bouts that didn't help cultivate his talents and abilities. And all the while, he's making more and more money. So when he looking at his bank account, of course, he done set his family up already, right? And himself. But now it gets a little harder. Like, man, you know, sparring sessions are rough. You get beat up by some guys, dropped by others and stuff. And now you got to go out here and do it for real under the lights, and you feeling the pressure. And didn't he say, man, I got so much pressure, you know, I gotta win. What does that sound like? It sounds like someone who no longer has the focus on what he's fighting for, but he's thinking about what he's gonna lose. You see? And that is something that that's why you like to keep them lean and mean. But that's not the consensus today. And it doesn't help when you got the Ellerbys and the Hearns over your shoulder trying to make that bank off of you. When he lost to Ruiz, the way he lost to Ruiz, Hearn was setting up that rematch. 6 months later, we got to get him back. He should have not worried about getting those, because that having those titles back, that wasn't about Joshua being champion again. It was about having control over the heavyweight division with the belts in your possession. He should have been more concerned about Anthony getting back in the ring, developing his style better, working on some things, take a couple of soft touches that you can work on some stuff that your new trainer is showing you. And then when you go back for the belts, you're coming back better as a result of it. You see, that's what Lennox did. When Oliver McCall knocked him out, he went and got the trainer of the guy who knocked him out. And then the trainer told him, I don't mind training you, Lennox, but I'm gonna have to manage you too, because if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it the right way. I got a plan for you. Lennox said, okay, I just want to become champion again, but I want to be better than I was before. Was he not better than what he was before Oliver McCall knocked him out that first time?
Yeah.
He was way better. He became undisputed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And one of the best, his name is up there with Joe Louis, Ali, Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson, and Holyfield. His name is right up there with these guys because By the time Lennox came full circle with Emmanuel Stewart, he was a hard customer to deal with. But before Emmanuel Stewart, he was just a big, tall heavyweight that had a big right hand. Sound familiar? Yeah. Think about it. So that's what, when you say like picking my brain, these are the kind of things that I could put out there, because understand that I can speak from a position of a foundation of being leveled. This is not all speculation. These are facts. Any trainer who hear my voice, what I'm saying, would agree, because those are the principles that you got to have for your fighter. And I said Tank is a good fighter. He could be great, but we don't know how great, because he's not matched up against people who can bring either the greatness out of him or the opportunity to show greatness from himself. But if you don't match him up against that ever, what's the good in having a nice hot rod, but it's just sitting in your driveway and it looks all nice and waxed and the tires are shining, but you don't take it out for a spin?
Yeah. And another thing too, people are confused. But see, we here to enlighten y'all and let y'all know. Because see, Tank Davis will say all the right things in these interviews. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I got a hit list. Or, I want to fight Devin. I want to fight Shakur. I want to fight Loma. He say all these things. You know what I'm saying? And he's giving his fans hope. But your team is saying something completely different. Whether that's Coach Cal, that's Floyd, that's Leonard. Y'all are not on the same page. So if Tank Davis is the boss, you have to move like a boss, in and out of the ring.
Absolutely.
We don't hold Tank to a special regard. He can get the smoke just like Wilder or Earl Spence or Crawford or Monster Inoue or whoever it is. The reason why Earl Spence is going to forever be great is because Earl Spence did it in and out the ring. Bud Crawford did it. He did it also in and out the ring. You know what I'm saying? Wilder, same thing. He didn't have to keep fighting Tyson Fury over and over again. He didn't have to fight Ortiz twice. But when you want to be known as a great fighter, you want that legacy. You want your name to go in the rafters. You want to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. These are the type things that you have to do.
Right.
Andre.
Let me add something to what you just said about Ortiz. Think about it. Wilder fought him twice voluntarily. He was not Wilder's mandatory at all. He fought that man twice, voluntarily twice, when there were other fighters who were obligated to him, like AJ was obligated to him, and so was Fury. And I'll tell you why. Because by the time that Klitschko fought Fury, do you know that Ortiz was like up there, like ranked number 2 or something, right on the WBC's heel for Klitschko? So basically, when Fury beat Klitschko, he inherited what was to be lined up. And what did Fury do with it? He messed around, got pegged for being on substances and everything. Then he blew up. They stripped his title. He faked like he was going to give Klitschko a rematch, but he didn't even do that. And things fell apart. And then King Kong was just out there floating in the wind. And in Matchroom and Hearn, they signed him and put him on the shelf so that AJ wouldn't have to face the guy. So it's like King Kong was there for a long time before a lot of these guys was champion. And they didn't face him. And Wilder faced the guy twice. But they want to say Wilder cherry-picked people. And the thing is that Wilder was facing people that would fight him. There were a lot of guys that said no. They said no. And that's not his fault. But look at who Fury has fought since he got the title away from Wilder in the third fight. Look at the 3 fights he's had. that's nothing. Listen, that's nothing to be proud of when you have other contenders like Hergovic and Dubois and other fighters out there that are named guys that should get a title shot, but they didn't. And it's like, even now, the Fury pulls out of this fight, and I was going to save that toward the end, but it's like, he pulls out of this fight, supposedly got an injury or whatever, but it's like, who's to say if that's really, I'm sorry, it looks real shady to me. Because I recall him pulling out a fight against Wilder with 2 weeks to go in that second fight. They were 2 weeks out. And he pulled out. Right? So it's like, if it looks funny and it smells funny, it's probably funny. And that ain't funny, you know?
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. That's why I was listening to you when I was on my way home, and I heard you say that you was searching for boxing news, and you know you're trying to create topics, and it's hard trying to find good things to talk about, because a lot of these guys are just company men. I mean, my brother Cadillac Red phrased it best. A lot of these dudes are just company men, OG. You know, they portray like they this big boss and they call the shots, man. But you letting the man in the suit dictate your every move. You know, like you said, Coach Cal ain't got to get in the ring. Leonard don't got to get in the ring. Al Hammond ain't getting in the fucking ring and fighting for you. You know, what fight can we go back and look at right now and say, man, Tank showed me something. Tank defined his greatness in this fight. Tank really had to dig in his bag to pull this off. I can't recall any of those moments, but I can look at.
Hasn't been put in that position, yeah.
Right, I can look at Hagler and say, man, Tommy Hearns almost knocked him the fuck out, man. He had to reach in his bag and you know pull it out. You know what I'm saying? I can reach and say Floyd when he got hurt by Sugar Shane. You know what I'm saying? Floyd had to, you know, he had to bring that pretty boy out. I can't do that with Tank. I can even look at Dale and say, man, it was looking real shaky, man, in them later rounds with Loma. You know, Dale really had to dig down deep. And Bill had to, you know, no pun intended, he had to weather the storm. You know what I'm saying?
And the difference in that was like, okay, let's use the Loma fight for Dev and the Loma fight for T.O. Loma did little or nothing for the first 6 or 7 rounds against T.O., right? He never hardly threw any punches or anything. He was just kind of in there in front of him, moving around and not doing nothing. And T.O. was getting the rounds because Loma wasn't doing anything. Then when Loma started to fight, the fight changed. But guess what? He gave up too many of those early rounds and he lost that decision. Now you think about when Dev fought Loma, Dev was actually fighting the guy. And he was going to his body like nobody had ever done. He was in there fighting him. And in the later rounds, as Dev was getting a little fatigued, and you heard the conversation between he and his dad in the corner, he's like, I feel like he knows what I'm gonna do. You know why? Because Loma got a shitstorm load of experience. But he still was able to ride things out and win and be victorious because of that work that he put in. He didn't rely on the fact that Loma didn't do anything against him for the first 6 or 7 rounds like T.O. did.
Right.
Because when Loma turned it up against T.O., T.O. began to wither in the wind. He did.
Yep.
Did he not? And it's like, that's 2 different mindsets. So, and the thing is, this is not to put anybody down. Nobody. It's to point out the things that you look at and understand what makes someone victorious, what makes someone nearly victorious, and the difference between someone losing. That's why a couple of weeks ago, when I talked about Jonas and Mayer, their fight, those two women fought their butts off, but I felt Michaela won that fight hands down for two reasons. One, she pressed the action, had the champion moving away, and in the later rounds had the champion tying up a lot and everything. Two, when it came to the championship rounds for them, which is rounds 8 through 10, what I noticed about Mayer in that fight, she learned something from the Baumgartner fight. I had said the difference with the Baumgartner fight, with the decision coming down like it did, was neither lady secured those last couple of rounds. They kind of just like was in there with each other, but nobody took the round like, this is mine. Well, against Jonas, that 10th round, Mayer was on her and Jonas was holding and tying up and everything, trying to kill the clock, all of that. And I'm sorry, you don't win that way. I said that it was probably the best that Jonas had ever fought in her career, but she was fighting from behind a lot of the time. And that's what the judges need to look at, instead of being, oh, she's from our hometown, this is her country. No, you're looking at who's putting out the effort. Who would you have rather been in that fight? Would you have rather been Mayer, who was pressing the action, backing her up, getting on her, or you want to be Jonas, who's fighting back in spurts, trying to show some heart, trying to be tough, but it's like you're still second, you're behind. And see, that's the difference. And this is something like, when you speak honestly and earnestly about the sport of boxing, you can educate people to know what they're looking at more. And instead of trying to be influential, I need you to agree with me. I need you to see things my way. No, I'm telling you, if the 10-point must system says clean and effective aggression, ring generalship, clean punches, and good defense, where are we scoring on that? I thought I saw Jonas kind of banged up after that fight too. Mayer didn't. She wasn't banged up. You know what I'm saying? So, but hey.
Nah, man, you absolutely right. I do agree with you on the Mayer situation. But you know, it was hometown cooking over there, man. It's unfortunate, you know, it's unfortunate for sure. But you know, these fighters, man, they get defined in moments. You know, when you're an athlete, you know, that's what defines your legacy, man. You know, key moments. And you know, Tank don't have any of those right now. It ain't like he can't get them, because he can. He can make the fights if he really wanted, because it's been shown time and time again. If you're on the PBC, you have free reign to fight anybody. You know, he fought Ryan, who's a DAZN fighter. I've seen Wilder. He's went, you know, and to Saudi and fought. He's fought Fury, who's a top ranked guy. You know, De Los Santos fought Shakur, who's the top ranked guy. So, you know, these guys can move around. It's been proven time and time again. I would really like to see Tank unify the division. OG, that's my biggest goal for him. If he was to start to fight, you know, give me Shakur Stevenson fight, or fight the winner of Cambosis and Loma. You know what I'm saying? I heard Navarrete is going to contend for a belt up there as well. Right, Navarrete. And they're making excuses for this kid left and right, man.
There's about 3 good fighters that he could face, and you named them. It's like those are excellent fights for him. And guess what? I could favor him in almost all of them. You know what I'm saying? Because of what he's shown us as far as what he's capable of. But we don't know until he faces someone that the best way to look at it like this is when the fighters sign their contract to face each other, when you look at whose names are on that contract, you could pick one guy or the other. It's like but you don't know. So you got to go with who you want to go with. But it's like, that's what we want to see. We want to see fighters in those type of circumstances. That way there's going to be a test and something to bring something out of them that we never saw before. A guy getting knocked down and he got to decide, do I want to get up and fight back? Or I ain't going to take that from him. You know what I mean? Or they knock each other down. Now somebody's got to, I remember Holyfield talking about a fight one time, and he says this was leading into his first fight against Mike Tyson, when they were asking him about being worried about Tyson's power. And Holyfield said, I might not punch single punch as hard as him, but I punch a lot more than him. You know what I mean? So he's like, think about it like this. When the fight start off, both guys are well conditioned and ready to go. But he said after 4 or 5 rounds, skills and stuff go out the window. Really, that's when you got to decide who really wanted the most. And he was right.
Yeah, man. It's unfortunate because everybody that I talk to sees the potential. They know that it's there. I just think that Tank is at a point in his career where it's very, very cookie cutter. It's carbon copy. You guys are putting out the same type of thing over and over, and at some point in time, people are gonna get tired. It just is what it is. People are gonna get tired. You know what I'm saying? And I think people are tired because now I'm hearing guys saying that they're not gonna support his pay-per-views unless he changes something. And I felt like that multitude of times. Like, you have to dare to be great. You know what I'm saying? At some point in time, because we're seeing it from everyone else. I've seen Shakur step up. I've seen Dev step up. I've seen Regis Progress step up. I've seen all these guys get put in situations. Teofimo, Josh Taylor, Earl, Terrence, Wilder, all these other Usyk, all these guys are doing it. You know what I'm saying? But this one particular guy who deems to be the face of boxing is not doing it. Hell, I even fucking seen Canelo doing it. And people have their gripe with Canelo, man, but Canelo has earned that. For me, to be the face of boxing. You know what I'm saying? From his fights, he has had to dig deep, and grind out some wins with a couple guys. I just don't understand why Tank is allowing his team to manipulate him, use him.
But you got to understand that sometimes those manipulations comes in pretty words, man. It's like, even when he hears Leonard Ellerby talk, it probably sounds good to him, but it's like a woman that got a pimp, right? And the pimp can finesse this woman, and he could say certain things to her, and then he'll say certain other things to her when he want her to, mind his business of what he telling her and stuff. But then he got another way he put things, and it's like it makes her melt and all of that. And another woman who ain't about that life or whatever would be looking like, you let that fool talk to you like that? But see, this is what I'm saying. So we can see from the outside looking in, hey man, what he's saying is a bunch of crud. But to Tank, it sounds like, man, they talking for me. You know what I mean? And that only comes from not knowing any better. And it's a shame because by the time he realizes, and everyone has their season, by the time he realizes, he's gonna be too old. He's 29 now.
I hope it don't come to that, man. I really don't, because like you say, he's getting older. You know, Father Time isn't on any man's side, especially in boxing. You know, I played football growing up, man, and I see how some of these football players are treated once they hit a certain age. You know, and you know, if you're really not like a quarterback with a good arm, you know, it's limited. You know, you got from probably 24 to about 30 to try to put up as many good numbers as you can and accumulate as much money as you can. And hopefully you won and accomplished some things. And it's the same way in boxing, like it is in football. You know, these guys' windows is very, very short. And for a guy like Tank, who has been boxing for so long, I think his is even shorter, right? So for Tank, man, I think these next 3 years are going to have to be very, very pivotal, because I've heard things, I've seen things that I did not like from him. His lifestyle, you know, you could poke holes in it from some of the decisions he made, man. So it's not too many dudes like Crawford that's in the sport right now. You know, Crawford, I think Crawford has the soul of y'all era. You know what I'm saying? Of guys in the 70s and 80s. He has that spirit. You know what I'm saying? That's why Crawford is able to define the odds, but ain't too many dudes can do that. You know? So I think these next couple of years for Tank, we're gonna have to really, really, really get the ball rolling, because I'm to the point now, man. If he not fighting the guy I want to see him fight, you know, I'm not gonna spend my hard-earned money on one of his pay-per-views. I supported Tank last year with the Ryan Garcia fight, with the Hector Garcia fight. You know, I feel like those was some pretty good fights, man. But you know, you have to have some type of integrity and honor. You know what I'm saying? And I see other guys, you know, that's not on the level of Tank as far as, you know, fan base or being popular and stuff like that. These guys are putting in way more work. You know, and Devin Haney is at the forefront of that. You know, see a lot of people like to say, oh, the LDBC, we favor Dev, or we biased, or we Devin Haney channels. No, it's not that, man. The reason why I think a lot of brothers and sisters like Devin Haney is because of his attitude, his drive, his mentality. That's what attracts people to Devin Haney. It isn't because Bill is on Drew Titan's show or 78 show or BFTV. No, man, it's because they're out there day in and day out trying to make the best fights. And as a fan, as a content creator, you have to outline that and let that be known. Hey, this guy is trying to fight everybody. And he isn't just talking about it, he's showing you that. In every fight, in every negotiation, everything that he's done up until this point, he has wanted to make fights, and he hasn't shied away from it not one time. And that's what separates Devin and Tank. Tank might be the more popular guy. You know, he might have more loyal fans or fanatics or whatever the case may be, but Dev is building something special. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing it at a very, very young age. So when you combine that with the push and the drive that his father is putting into him, I mean, I don't think there's no ceiling on this kid. You know? Because let's just say he fights Ryan Garcia next. He beats Ryan. You know, they're going to be calling out a Matias. They're going to be trying to fight a Teofimo. You know? They're going to be trying to fight Rolly, a Pitbull Cruz, the other champions in the division. And are we wrong because we want Tank Davis to do the same thing? How many more times are we going to have to keep paying for the same old thing? You know, this has been going on. I want to say Tank Davis's first pay-per-view was against Santa Cruz, you know, and that was like during COVID, 2019, 2020 or something like that. It's 2024, Sensei.
Yep.
We like 5 years in this, man. How many more times are you gonna rob the fans? How many more times? Y'all have been getting all of our money for 4 years, and we didn't ask for any of those fights. We didn't ask for none of those. We said, fight Devin, fight Shakur, unify your division. You have not done none of that. You know, but in Devin Haney's first pay-per-view, he fights Lomachenko. We wanted that. In his second pay-per-view, he steps up in weight and fight Regis Prograis, a champion. We wanted that. That's what boxing is all about. You conquer one division, you move up, and you pick off the guys at that division. It's very, very simple. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. If that guy's number one, I want to go over there and see what he about. We don't have to beg and plead with Devin Haney and Bill Haney to get shit done. We 5 years in with Tank, man. How many more Cruzes and Garcias are you gonna fight before you actually fight the guys we want to see, that we want to pay for, versus us saying, well, I guess how about a fight, man. It's Saturday. I ain't got nothing to do. Ain't boxing coming on. I guess how about Tank Davis and Barrios, or Tank Davis and Garcia. We never asked you to fight those guys, bro. You know what I'm saying? Versus, Earl Spence and Crawford about to fight. When is it, man? I'm gonna go ahead and pre-order that, because I want to see that. Wilderman's fighting Fury. Okay, let me order that. I want to see that. When is it? That's shit that we asking for, man. You know, supply and demand. But it's backwards with him because he demanding us to keep buying the bullshit, and I'm not here for it. I'm not.
Right.
I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of the Garcias, man. I'm tired. Now, if you do choose to fight Frank, that's something that I will support, because that's a young brother who deserves a title shot. He's put the work in. He's beat some quality opponents, and that will be a good thing to see, you know, especially for our community and for the brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So I just gotta see it, man. At this point, I gotta see it.
There's another way to look at things too. It's like when the top fighters like a Tank Davis or a Teofimo or even Shakur or whatever, if they're not gonna fight their contemporaries, everyone who's like a non-titleist, their careers get stalled out because nobody's fighting. You know what I mean? And then now, because there are 4 belts, you have a bunch of guys just waiting for a title shot instead of fighting each other to earn a title shot or to earn their place. You know, and that sucks as well, because you with 4 belts, that's like 4 contenders ranked number 1 right there. Then you go the 4 behind them, that's 8 people. The 4 behind them, that's 12. You know what I'm saying? So the top 12 ain't moving. Think about it. It's the only sport that shit like this can happen, and it's unfortunate that when we sit up here and we talk about it, like we're having a real boxing conversation right now.
Mm-hmm.
These are talking points that people don't really like to talk about or don't want to talk about because it brings up the ugliness of the sport. And there's only the blame only goes back to 2 entities, the managers and promoters or the fighters themselves. So it's like, that's it. We could talk about Errol losing to Terrence Crawford, but Errol was the reason that fight happened. It was because of him. And the fact that he, regardless of whether he was in great shape, not whatever, he didn't want to move until he fought that guy. I respect that. You have to take your hat off to that, because it's not like Bud was an easy touch. Bud was a fighter that's well accomplished and decorated and is a threat. And the thing is, he made that fight happen. You don't have to like the guy. You could like the guy. You could love the guy or hate the guy or whatever, but he made the fight happen. There are not a lot of fighters who will do that in the sport of boxing today. So that's to be commended. When you talk about Devin Haney, he told Tank's camp, he told T.O.'s camp, he's like, look, give me what you offered so-and-so. Like Tank, he said, give me what you offered Ryan. I'll take that deal. You know what I mean? He took a crap deal to fight Kambosos for undisputed. And Shakur didn't want to take the split that he offered him, but he was willing to fight Shakur. If he would have taken that, he would have. But guess what? There was no negotiation. It was just turning it down. Like, no, I ain't. I know my worth. What is your worth? You ain't worth a hill of beans if you're losing belts on the scale, then moving up to another division where they're already ranked guys, and you have absolutely no negotiating leverage, and think you're going to leapfrog all of those guys to fight the world champion? No, boxing don't work like that. He mad because Navarrete is going to move up to now 135 and get a shot possibly at the WBO title there. But guess what? Navarrete got the WBO at 130. He got his leverage, his bargaining chip.
Let me speak on that.
Blew his.
I heard you cooking on that too, man. Shakur is gonna have to get his mental in order. It's his desire, his discipline. You know, like Shauna just said in the chat, entitlement. This era of children, of kids, are so entitled, OG. And see, this is why I want to come on the show with you. To get some of that old school, you know what I'm saying, vibes, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these dudes, their minds is just, it's all over the place. You know, nobody owes you nothing, man. And my pops told me a long time ago, ain't nothing in this world free. Point blank, period. I don't care, you know, how good of a father you had, mother you had. You're gonna have to get out here and work for everything that you want. So for me, Shakur, you still have a lot of work to do, bro. Devin Haney don't owe you nothing. Yavarate don't owe you nothing. I remember looking at some old documentaries about Hagler, and they would always tell Hagler, you got two things going against you. You're a southpaw and you good. Same thing applies to you, Shakur. You're a southpaw you are a southpaw boxer and you're fucking good.
Yep.
So you got this. You look at how hard Marvin Hagler had to work to get the Sugar Ray fight. He had to go through trials and tribulations to get that man in the ring. Shakur, you're gonna have to put that same effort in, man. Sugar Ray didn't owe Hagler shit. Devin don't owe you nothing. Navarrete don't owe you nothing, man.
And I'll tell you something, to be perfectly honest, just to piggyback on what you're suggesting right now. During their day, their era, when they finally fought, Sugar Ray Leonard had all the luster. He had all, you know, the Golden Boy tag and all of that, right? But if you think of it today, people more fondly remember Hagler than Leonard. They look at the workhorse that Hagler was. They look at how he was in wars. They look at how he was well conditioned all the time. Do you realize that man fought at 160, but most times he came in at like 156 point something, 157. Hagler didn't hardly ever come in at 160. He could have easily made junior middleweight. But the whole point of it was that he was in shape. He was ready to go. And people remember that. The hard hat, lunch pail type guy, that's who he was. Leonard was flash and dash and razzle dazzle, yes. And what was interesting was Leonard was that on the exterior, but internally he was Hagler because he had that in him. But his style and the way he performed was more glitz. You know, and that makes all the difference in the world. Shakur's gonna have to decide, do I got Hagler in me? Or am I Leonard with Hagler in me? It's gotta be, you know, you have to have a point of reference where you make that decision.
So when you think about it, this is setting up to be something big, because if Navarrete is coming to 35, all you have to do is stay the course. Don't let your emotions get the best of you, because you're entitled to feel like I'm just gonna get all these belts and it's gonna go my way. No, it don't work like that, man. If Devin had that same attitude, he wouldn't have fought Kambosos. He wouldn't have fought Lomachenko. You have to stay the course, sacrifice, and put the work in. Bottom line, that's just what it boils down to. If Top Rank wants Navarrete to get that belt, then fuck it, he gonna get that belt. And this ain't nothing you can do about it. You can have a million temper tantrums on Twitter, whatever. Top Rank is building something. They're trying to, like you said earlier, Sensei, with AJ, they're trying to get reins on that division. They're trying to control 135. They're trying to keep majority of the belts. Because guess who got the other belt? Tank Davis.
Yep.
Pay attention to the landscape, Shakur. They want Lomachenko to get that belt, right? Navarrete is gonna get the WBO belt. You have the WBC belt. Play ball, because if you don't play ball, Drew Titan said this shit 2 days ago. If you don't fucking play ball, guess what's gonna happen? The fight that you want with Navarrete, they're gonna give it to Lomachenko because you're retired. You so sick of this pussy ass sport boxing. Go stock shelves then, like you said, Sensei. Go get a spit bucket and a broom and go sweep up Jay Prince gym. Go do that. If you so tired of making millions of dollars for doing what you've been doing since you was a kid. Now you tired, you frustrated. It's only gonna get harder for you, bro. Because unlike Devin Haney and Tank, you have no superstar status. You don't have that, bro. You're fucking Marvin Hagler, dude.
And not only that, just like the NFL analogy earlier, I'm gonna make one too. You know how every year they have the draft, and teams draft quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, linemen, huh? And the thing about it is, if a team who has a star running back, but they don't need another position filled, they might draft another running back that's potential to star because they could unload that big contract that the current guy got. In other words, there's always somebody on the come up. Now these guys milling about. Tank is the oldest out of them. Zepeda's out there. Roddy's out there. These guys don't make the decision to start making moves and fights. You got guys like Shoo and them other kids coming up.
Keyshawn Davis, Abdullah Mason.
Keyshawn, it's like what's his name? The other one, Richardson, Hitchens, all those guys coming up. Not that they all in the same weight class, but I'm using them as examples of fighters of the future. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you keep mulling about, and these guys will pass your butt up. Devin Haney has already passed a couple people up because he's younger than them, and he done accomplished more already. You know what I mean? It's like ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. I see it, man. I see the potential. Shakur's gonna have to make his next move his best move because time waits for nobody. They want Lomachenko. Don't get it twisted. They want Lomachenko to have all them belts.
Oh, of course.
They want Lomachenko. They want Lomachenko to get the Tank Davis fight. And you're playing right into the fucking hands of what they want. Because you're not mentally strong to continue your path. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Lomachenko don't have that much time. He has wear and tear. He's been in the amateur since a kid. He had to medal twice. Time is not on Loma's side, man. They want Loma to be the champion. They want Loma to fight Tank. Shakur, you have to put a stop to that. You have to put the brake shoes on it, man. Because if you play yourself, you're playing your fans. You got people out here that really support you. You might don't think so, but you really do. And all you need is that one moment. Whether it's against a Navarrete, it's against a Lomachenko, it's against a Tank Davis. But you have to create that moment. It's not going to be given to you. You know what I'm saying? You're a southpaw and you good, bro. You already got 2 strikes against you. So you're going to have to take the quote-unquote sucker's deal. Everybody had to take it in boxing. And it's not going to change because you feel like you entitled to get a better deal. Not gonna change because of you. Floyd had to take a sucker's deal. Wilder had to take a sucker's deal. De La Hoya had to take a sucker's deal. Right? Hagler had to take it. All these dudes have, it's only a couple guys that can beat the system. But you're not that guy. And that's okay. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? You always have a golden boy in each era of boxing. Holyfield had to take the sucker's deal. Everybody can't be Mike. Everybody can't be Sugar Ray. It is what it is. Everybody can't be Tank Davis. So, the guys that are not them, like Sensei said, you have to bring your hard hat, your lunch pail, your work boots, right? You're gonna have to get you a cup of coffee, tie your boots up and go to work. Or if not, the job is gonna be given to somebody else who the industry wants to have that job. So
they can always make somebody who they want look better. They can always do that. You might have to go through more red tape and everything if it's you, but for them, they're gonna always make it look easy. Look at this thing, what we just heard about with Fury today. Listen, Fury, and I've heard it said, it was in the back of my mind as well, I never really thought he wanted this Usyk fight to begin with. I didn't. And I was talking with Drew earlier about this, and I said, to a man, Usyk is the best fighter that Fury will have ever faced in his career, outside of Vladimir Klitschko, who also happens to be Ukrainian, right? But Usyk is accomplished in the Olympics and amateurs. I should say amateur and Olympics. He's accomplished in the pros at cruiserweight, and now he's accomplished at heavyweight. That's a hard run. And there's another fighter in history like that, Evander Holyfield. He was an amateur standout, Olympian, then a cruiserweight champion in the pros, and then became heavyweight champion. Those are feats that are not easy to accomplish. And for Fury, who has kind of like dined on a lot of inadequate fighters to get to the position of championship contention, and then even after becoming champion, has dined still on inadequate fighters. What was Wilder was a champion. Klitschko was a champion. But outside of those two men, who has Fury fought that you could really look at and be like, you know, that was a tough fighter for him to fight, like a Luis King Kong Ortiz or somebody like that? He haven't faced anybody like that. Nobody. And I think as we got closer to this fight date, they were like, you know what? And of course, after the rumors about Opataya, you heard about that, right?
Yeah. Drew put me up on it. I listened to Drew.
Tell you something.
Yeah.
Opataya shows something that's kind of lacking in a lot of the fighters. He shows an aggression to go get it done, go get the job done. That's what he does. And that sells tickets and everything. But for fighters who are complacent, who have an apathetic approach to their business or whatever, you don't want them in the ring with Opataya, because he's gonna show you. Dude, he won the title with a freaking broken jaw against Maris Breedis. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He in the locker room like this. Hey, thanks. They congratulating him. Hey, great job, man. He's like, yeah. You know, he's a real fighter. A real fighter.
Yeah.
And it ain't like he was ducking Maris Breedis. He took that fight on the Day of Reckoning card because that was going to be his biggest payday ever. And the IBF showed their butt by stripping him when he was gonna fight Breedis anyway, because that's his next fight, a rematch with Breedis. But it's like, why would you strip the man like that when all he's trying to do is ensure himself financially? He's representing well because he's whooping ass as your new champion. You see these sanctioning bodies be doing corrupt stuff. It's like crazy.
Yeah. They did Crawford the same way.
Yeah, Crawford work hard. You okay? You become undisputed, and now they're gonna strip you. You ain't even had the title 6 months, and they strip you.
Yeah.
What kind of foolishness is that?
When clearly he waiting on Earl Spence. Not his fault. and you making it harder for Boots, because now people are calling him an email champion, and he still don't got to fight. He the champ now.
Yeah.
So what was the purpose of doing that? Don't make sense. Not to me, it don't.
I know we can talk about a lot of this stuff, but before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about this right here, man. I wanted to talk about this. You know, we lost this man today. Well, actually yesterday he passed away in his sleep. Carl Weathers, the great actor from the Rocky films, Predator movie. I mean, he was even recently on the Mandalorian series on Disney. He's recently doing commercials with what's the kid's name that used to play football, the tight end, the Gronk. He was doing commercials with the Gronk when they out in the desert, and he picking the Gronk up on a motorcycle. You know, Carl Weathers, man, he's been around a long time. Action Jackson, you know, the film he made with Vanity. But he really, you know, and this is funny being a boxing guy in the movie Rocky playing Apollo Creed. Apollo was like a campy knockoff of Ali when the Rocky film was originally made. But he made the character so resounding. Former football player in the NFL. Carl Weathers is a man that was he was all right, man. He even helped Rocky get his title back, beating Mr. T in Rocky 3. And it was a great moment in exchange when they went in the ring and they were doing the fighters announcing the fighters, and Apollo came in the ring and Mr. T told him, "Get away from me, bum." He said he was like, "I don't need you messing up my corner, and you better take that look off your face before I knock it off." Mr. T was something else, man. And Apollo went over there to Rocky and shook his hand. He said, "Do us all a favor and drop this clown, all right?"
Yeah, man.
Hey, man. This was some great stuff, man. And he told Apollo, he was like, "Hey, fool." He's like, "After I get rid of him, I'm coming for you."
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Yeah, man. Apollo Creed was that guy, man. He was that guy. I'ma definitely miss Brother Carl, man. I think guys like this, man, characters like this, they can never be duplicated, man. You can never carve and copy Apollo Creed or Action Jackson. These are iconic, figures in sports and entertainment. And you see now today, right? He has a whole movie series in his character's honor. And now they're coming out with Creed 4. So that tells you the legacy he left and how good he played Apollo Creed. To me, he was a mixture of Don King, Ali, and I even throw a little bit of Hagler in there with his physique.
Yeah.
You know, so man, just watching Rocky, then seeing Creed, you know, it gave me goosebumps. You know what I'm saying? When I'm going to my archives and I'm watching these movies, and I'm on the internet and I'm seeing clips of him everywhere. You know, like the very, very special quote in the Rocky movie where he told Rocky, "There is no tomorrow."
Yeah,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? You keep talking about tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, champ. You know what I'm saying? You know, this guy, man, he just so iconic, man, and I think he will be truly missed.
Wait a minute. Hey, there was another classic line when he was telling Rocky when they was training. You think I was bad? This Trump will kill you. Talking about Mr. T when he was training Rocky for the rematch. He thought I was bad.
Yeah, man.
This Trump will kill you.
Yeah, man. Creed was a motherfucker, man. Hey, man. I'm gonna miss Mr. Carl, man. He was an iconic character, man. So.
Do you remember in Rocky 4, when he was getting ready to fight Drago and they was introducing him, all those ring names they called, they was like the Master of Disaster, the King of Sting, the Count of Monte Fisco. Rocky was like, "You think you got enough nicknames?" He's like, "Hold on, man, they almost finished." Man, he was
yeah.
That was my boy, man. That was my boy. I love Carl Weathers playing Apollo Creed, man. That was something else, man. He'll forever be remembered for that. But I salute to what he brought us in the cinema and on television. But my condolences to his family. He definitely made his mark here, and in one of the most peaceful ways. I heard that he left in his sleep, you know, which is I think that's one of the ways that you get called home to glory, man. I don't think there's a finer way, but I just wanted to say something about him before I got up out of here tonight, because for us that cover the sport of boxing, the Rocky films are a reality for us all, but having someone like that who took and played the character with seriousness, even though he did some funny things, you know, he did consider his art, you know, serious and whatnot. So, you know, I just he won't be forgotten anytime soon. You know what I mean? So I just thought I would say that. But yeah, so we got tomorrow coming up, this fight here between these two cats. If you know anything about these men, they are very familiar with one another. They came up together in the amateurs and in the gyms. They are friends actually in real life, but now they have to put friendship aside to face one another. Azeez happens to be the British Commonwealth and Intercontinental. He's an Intercontinental light heavyweight champion. And Buatsi, who a few years ago I had touted him as one to watch coming up, and he was being trained by Virgil Hunter. I'm not certain if Virgil is still with him. I didn't see the press conference today, so I don't know if Virgil was still over there with him. But I did not like his performance a couple of fights back against Craig Richards, who's a straight up UK boxer. And in that fight, I noticed he wasn't throwing left hooks. He wasn't hooking off the jab. And Craig Richards was open for that all night. And I was like, if I could see this, Virgil should be able to see this. But Buatsi had a little lull, I think, due to managerial problems and promotional problems. So he's now with Boxer over there at Sky Sports. He was with Hearn, but he left Hearn. So we'll see what happens here. But this fight, because I don't know enough about the two men and their personalities, because they're from over there, but from what I watched and how they fight, this is a coin flip of a fight to me. But Dan Azeez 503 in chat, his idol is Marvin Hagler. He patterns himself after Hagler. He wears Hagler's colors. He wears the high tube socks like Hagler. And at the pressers, he wears his hat that says war like Hagler. So anytime a guy has that type of devotion to a fighter like that, you may want to keep an eye on him. And this fight had been delayed and postponed a couple of times. So tomorrow they're finally going to get in there and get down. I don't think anybody that likes the sport of boxing want to miss this fight. So those are my thoughts. Do you have anything on this one?
Oh yeah, absolutely, OG. I've been watching Dan Azeez, man. Like you say, he's definitely an underdog threat, right? Because even though he is the British and Commonwealth champion at 175, people are not really respecting him. Where you had Buatsi, who is a little bit more known, he's a little bit more popular because he had the bigger promoter, he had the bigger machine behind him. I think that Buatsi is gonna have to be on his game because when you fighting guys that you're, quote unquote, they call each other mates in the UK, you know what I'm saying? So they brethren, right? They know each other. This Dan kid, man, he's dangerous. And salute to you, big Trick. I see you. Trick Notes, salute to you, brother.
Yeah, salute Trick Notes.
Yeah, this guy's dangerous, man. I've been watching him, man, and from what I've seen, he has a very, very deceptive right hand that he can formulate. It can come at you straight. He can give you an overhand. He can give you an uppercut. He has a pretty good solid jab. And from the looks of it, man, it looks like he comes in shape. And what that Marvin Hagler, and it's crazy we've been talking about Hagler since I came on here. He has that Hagler aura around him because he idolizes Hagler from the uniform, the appearance, to the brand. He's branded himself after Hagler. So a guy like this is dangerous for Buatsi, man. And I'm a little bit disappointed in Buatsi because as talented as I think Buatsi is, man, I think he's kind of fell off a little bit, and he hasn't lived.
Don't you feel that he underachieved a little bit or something?
Right.
Yeah, I'm feeling about him as well. Like I said, I was kind of high on him about 3 years ago, and he kind of just, and then when he got with Virgil Hunter, because Virgil wasn't always there with him. So I'm like, okay, that's good. That means that even in the gym over there, Andre Ward is coming around and probably giving him some pointers and stuff, because Virgil and Andre are still tight. So I'm sure he stopped by the gym, but that Craig Richards fights, and I will suggest this to you, 503 and chat. Go back and watch Buatsi versus Craig Richards, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That fight could have been so much easier for him, but there were things that he should have been doing in the fight and he wasn't doing them, and Virgil wasn't telling him to do them. And I was like, wait a minute, something's, and I had Richards winning the fight. It went to a decision.
Right.
And I'm like, I did not like that performance. And then he came back with a win, but he hasn't looked like what I thought he was looking like when he was like around, I guess he was like 9 or 10 wins. He was looking like somebody really on the come up. But now I'm not so sure, man. It's like I don't know.
Iffy.
If there is anything questionable under the surface, this kid Azeez is gonna bring it out of him.
Right. Because Azeez isn't a guy that's coming in there for a paycheck.
No.
He not happy just because he there. He want to win. And this is a UK domestic duster, as they like to call it. Somebody always gonna go.
Yeah.
Make tonight. You know what I'm saying? So this is dangerous for Buatsi, man. And I don't really feel too confident picking Buatsi. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I did my breakdown video this morning, and my breakdown video, okay, I did not pick a winner in the fight, but I said this is a fight that bears watching because, like I said, there are elements of this, them knowing each other, being so familiar. You have to understand that one has more animosity toward the other because they both feel like they deserve to be at a certain place and they're now in one another's way. You don't know how that's gonna go when it plays out in the action in the ring.
Yeah. Buatsi is gonna have to be on his A game for the entire deal of this fight. This is the championship fight to UK standards. Probably not to us Americans, but over there, this is a big deal. And I'm definitely gonna be watching this. I got my Peacock subscription, so I'm gonna be checking this out. You know, I want Buatsi to win, but I'm not confident he's gonna dominate this kid. And I want to see Buatsi that fire lit underneath him. This could make or break him,
right?
Because you still got guys like Callum Smith out there, still got guys like Anthony Yards, you still got Better Be Even Bivol. So that division is very, very dangerous.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So Buatsi is gonna have to show and prove. It just comes down to that, man. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this, man. I'm glad I was able to get your take on it because I know that you really you care for the sport of boxing and you watch all of the fights, whether it's UK, Japan. You're not just watching quote unquote big American. You watching everything. So I was happy to join you tonight, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming in, and you're more than welcome to come back. And if this show is one that suits you to join on more, that's fine, because I don't mind having someone on here to chop it up with me here, because this show is kind of like my weekend review type show, plus previewing what's coming up the following night if there's fights scheduled. And it's always good to hear another voice and to chime in. That doesn't mean everybody got to agree with what I think or say. It's just it's nice to hear someone to come in and want to talk about these fights.
I gotta ask you one thing too while we still here, man. Your girl fighting, man. Was she our girl? You know what I'm saying? Dubois, Caroline, man. How you feel about that?
Man, let me tell you something, bro. That woman there I still say, not only is she the best fighter in the Dubois family, but she's ready to take over for Clarissa Shields. She has an it factor that Clarissa didn't have. See, Clarissa's a little, sometimes her mouth can make you be turned off, you know, even though her talent in the ring is much to be respected. But this girl here gets it done with her performance. Caroline is a southpaw. She can box, but she goes in for the kill. She doesn't just, she's not content outpointing you. She want to go upside your head and clean you up and get you out of there. And she has a 1,000-watt smile and appears to be a nice lady. But when that bell rings, she ain't so nice. She goes upside them girls' heads, man, and she goes through them like a buzzsaw. And I'm going to say this. The likes of Alicia Baumgartner and everything, you don't want to see this girl on the other side. You don't. Because she has that thing that Ann Wolfe used to have. And that's not a thing that you pass around. She's not real big. She's a lightweight. But my goodness, I saw her hit a woman one time and the woman's head snapped back. I said, oh, she can punch. But if you look at her and her family, her brothers and everything, there's something genetic going on there with that Dubois family. Seriously. And I'm not saying that out of disrespect, but those people got that it's something in their blood, man. Something in their blood, but she can fight.
I'm in the water.
And I'll tell you something. She respects Clarissa too. Whenever Clarissa has been over there in the UK and they've been at fights and stuff, she's sitting like right next to Clarissa or 2 seats away from her. She's sucking up on that energy of like what it's gonna require and everything. Those are smart people who do things like that. So what I think of Caroline Dubois, I think she's the one on the move, man.
Yeah, man.
She's the one on the move.
Yeah, I like Caroline Dubois. I always hear you speak highly of her, man. So I know you're gonna be tuned in. Watch her, man. For me, man, I think she's the next undisputed champion.
Yeah, I don't see anybody getting in the way. There's a couple of other UK fighters who are near and about that weight and everything. They're gonna try to keep them away from Caroline, but if they put them in there, dude, she gonna eat them up like Pac-Man. Because it's what I see. You know what I mean? I see it. There's another fighter that I see something similar, but she's much smaller, but a little taller. And that's that what's her name? Gabriela Fundora. Gabriela Fundora can fight too. You know what I mean? And listen, I cover the women. That's why I could talk about them like I do. And there's some really nice fights getting ready to happen in the women's division of boxing because the talent has caught up to the top of the sport now. These girls that have gone through amateur careers and Olympics and everything, they're pros and they're winning titles around their 8th and 9th fights and stuff. Man, boxing is good as far as the women. They can still teach the men a thing or two. Yeah, because unlike the men, the women are getting to it. Yeah, and it ain't taking a lot of time. It ain't taking a lot of time. I think Clarissa done a great job of moving the needle with that, and I think Caroline has took heed to it. She's very, very poised, respectful. You know, you don't really see her trash talking. You know, when a microphone is in front of her, but when she has her opponent in front of her, it's a whole different story. I was looking at the weigh-ins, man.
and you could tell her body language, you know, it was oozing out of her, man. She was ready, you know, right then and there, you know. So I love seeing that type of stuff, man. Big fan of Dubois, man. I do think she is the better Dubois.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
and let me ask you this. Now this is an interesting question, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Have you seen her cleaned up?
Oh yeah. I was looking at her.
She's a nice looking woman, man. She's a nice looking young woman.
Yeah, she like a model over there, man. She like a model over there in the UK. She just got like a big cover shoot for some type of magazine or something.
Yeah.
Can't remember the exact name, man. But yeah, man, she's a lovely lady. You know what I'm saying? I give her a call. Cool.
Yep.
She got potential.
I told you, I pay attention, man. And see, this lets you know also about, you know, being into the sport. Like earlier, you know, in the conversation, you heard me talking about Michaela and Natasha. You know, I have a lot of respect for the sport and what these fighters put themselves through. And I'm going to tell you something. For those that don't watch the sport in depth, it's a longer journey toward understanding what you view if you can't take in more than just the names that are bantied about, because there's so much to be acknowledged here with the sport of boxing. And we also unfortunately had one who lost his life, the young Japanese fighter. I was supposed to write his name down. Forgive me for that. That's my bad. But RIP to him and condolences to his family. He had been on life support. He had a brain bleed after his last fight, and he fought on the Inoue Tamales undercard, and it didn't go so well for him. So similar situation, almost like Gerald McClellan, but this kid didn't pull through. So condolences to him and his family, man.
Yeah, man, and condolences, man. You know, I think seeing stuff like that, man, is a refresher, and people should be very, very conscious of the things they do and say in this realm, because these guys put their life on the line, and we're starting to see more and more accidents like this. You know, it seems like every 6 to 8 months, you know, dudes are passing away. You know what I'm saying? So that just goes to show you, man, that these guys are warriors, gladiators. You know, they might don't get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. It might be sooner than what they think. You know, everybody is not gonna go out. Everybody is not gonna go out like a Hagler or Ali or Sugar Ray Robinson, you know, or Joe Louis and stuff like that. Like a lot of times, you know, these dudes, you know, their bodies break down. So sooner than they were like. So definitely condolences, man, and you got to respect these guys, man, from the smallest to the biggest, you know. So I hate that happened, you know. I really do.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a quick moment and put my little advertisement in here for my brother, the Focus Ball.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, You train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah, get you some of that Stormybman merchandise, man. There's a lot of things to choose from there. I got this comment here from the brother Trick Note. He says, Stormy, I'm gonna sue Focus Ball for false advertisement. I got one and put it up and it had knots all upside my head. And I was slipping punches, but not like him. Hey man, yeah, you got work to do, Trick Note. You got work to do, bro. You gotta get in there and, move that head. That's why we was talking about we need to send Danny Dubois one of them focus balls and get him to get that head off center line. Otherwise, he gonna run into some more trouble. But man, let me get some final words from you there, 503. I appreciate you stopping in this evening and sharing
Yeah.
with me tonight.
Yeah, man. I definitely look forward to more Friday night chop sessions with you, man. Appreciate you for having me, man. Great show, great chat. And yeah, man. If y'all watch the fights tomorrow, be sure to tune in. It's a UK dust up. We got a lot of UK fighters. The Americans will be back, next week with Teofimo. But you got Connor Bean as well. He's gonna be fighting. So be on the lookout for Connor Bean too on the zone. And then you also got Buatsi, man. So we got some cool little fights tomorrow, man. So I can't wait to hear what the sensei got to say about that. Man, and much love to the chat. Everybody came through, man. I seen y'all had a lot of great comments, man. And check me out, man, on my YouTube channel, 503 Lion. You know what I'm saying?
Put your link in the chat before you go too. Put your link in the chat so people can click that link and go over there and give you a subscribe.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, man, but much love to you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You putting out great work, man. Keeping it boxing. And you know this is definitely one of the best shows I think. When it comes to boxing content, period. You know what I'm saying? So salute to you, OG, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. And much love to the chat, man. I appreciate all y'all, man. It's a 503 line on YouTube, and on the next one, man, I catch up with y'all. Peace.
All right, bro. Peace. Yeah, so we coming to the end of another Friday night chop session. And it's been a great show, man. Great show where we had great conversation and subjects. We talked about a lot and could have talked about even more, but I got to respect the time for some of the other content creators, even though I went a little bit over my normal time here. But just know that we just try to bring the best we can and talk about things. But that's what happened when we show the support for one another like we do. And just know that we're gonna keep grinding. We're gonna do our thing, keep grinding. So with that being said, we're gonna get ready to get out of here. Enjoy those fights tomorrow. There's 2 cards on at the same time: the Conor Ben Dobson fight and the Buatsi Azeez fight. I think they're starting both at 2 p.m. One is on Peacock, one is on DAZN. So you're gonna have to pick your poison. Or for some of y'all that got the technology to be able to watch one on one device and on the other device, all of that foolishness, you can do whatever you can to tune in. But I think I'm only going to tune in to one card and I'll catch the other one on a replay. But that being said, we're going to get out of here. Shout out to the mighty LDBC, and we will catch you guys on the next one. There will be a post-fight show after Buatsi versus Azeez tomorrow afternoon. Peace to everybody. Enjoy your weekend.